G'day YouTube, how the heck we doing? It is Foul Play here. We're back for another modern league. So we're going to be taking an unchanged deck list into this league with the sideboard cards of Chalice of the Void for Cascade decks cascading to 0 mana spells. We are not paying mana for Chalice, that's not what we're about. Gadok Teague for Tron Leyline Binding decks, Solitude for Hammer Time, Shadow, basically anything with big problematic creatures. Force of Vigor for Hammer Time, and Leyline of Sanctity for discard and burn decks. In the main deck, we're leveraging the 4 copies of Sentinel's Eyes. This plays quite well into Ragavan, the decks with First Strike, so we can turn 1 creature, turn 2 First Strike Vigilance, and then just invalidate the Ragavan from that point forward. Outside of that as well, we've got 3 copies of Griffspoon for Evasion, 2 copies of Griffspoon pairing with Hyena Umbra for 6 copies of Totem Armor. Totem Armor is really good into Dress Down because the Totem Armor applies to the aura, not to the creature, and through Dress Down plus Lightning Bolt, your creature will still survive. Also 2 copies of Audacity, taking us to 6 copies of Trample in total, with a Spirit Mantle for that extra source of evasion. Things to note that if you recast Sentinel's Eyes from your graveyard with Light Paws, you'll get the card trigger off the escape casting. So post like a blow up board state where your opponent like engineered explosives, switch away your Glade Cover Scout. You get your Rancor back, you get your Sentinel's Eyes back, maybe you even get a card draw off Audacity, and then with Light Paws triggers, you can start tutoring out a really strong and resilient creature all over again. Alright, here we are for the first match versus Lockhart. We lost the die roll. Going to be on the draw, keeping this 7-card hand. So only 1 mana. We're going to want a little bit of help from the top of our library to find an additional mana source so we can cover out nicely. And Xander's Lounge into Temple Garden. I'm just going to assume that it's Indomitable Creativity. Okay, never mind. Looks like we're just versing a domain deck. I think this deck does run main deck Leyline Binding, so that can be problematic for us. Still, we miss on land drop, and we just need to like start releasing auras out of our hand onto the battlefield. Alright, opponent with a second Scion, so they're going to attack us for 4 here. Currently, their creatures don't have any colors, so they don't get any extra effects. Alright, and right in the nick of time, we do actually find a Wooded Foothills here. Now this could be a bit dicey, because we're down at 11. I kind of want to play out Daybreak Coronet, but that's pretty weak to Leyline Binding. Goodness, there's also main deck Dramoka's Command on top, so like 6 hate cards in total. If we don't play Daybreak Coronet, we're like dead to Tribal Flames, so we have to play it anyway. And then maybe afterwards we reset and kill. The problem is we can get 2 for 1, so if they Leyline Binding our Ethereal Armor, Daybreak Coronet will fall off in the graveyard because the creature isn't enchanted by any other enchantments. So when it attacks in, obviously this isn't a blockable situation, so we'll go ahead and take that one. Alright, and we'll see if our opponent lets us play out any auras. Okay, so we do actually resolve that aura, that's pretty massive. Totem Armor next, seems pretty good. And we'll look to attack in. Alright, so not surprisingly, Leyline of Binding. Taking away Daybreak Coronet. We do actually get the Vigilance in our attack here, which is kind of nice. Opponent should probably have done this beginning of combat. Hit our opponent to 4. Alright. Oh wow, and they've just actually passed back to us, which is a bit interesting here. Alright, so probably want to give Vigilance. I think we have to put out the 3rd source of Hyena Umbra. I mean, we can assume that they only have 1 copy of Leyline Binding, 1 copy of Interaction, because they would have played... Yeah, they only have 1 white mana up, so they can only cast 1 Leyline of Binding. Alright, so this should be fine. We'll double up on Trample. We've got double up on first strike, and we've got our vigilance as well. It's going to be a strong attack. They'll probably take away the ethereal armor. Hyena Umbra might even fall to the graveyard after our creature gets nerfed down. Another Hyena Umbra in hand, which is nice. All right, so ethereal armor is gone. 7/3. Opponent can double block, and Hyena Umbra gets removed. Creature will survive on their replacement effect. Rhino is definitely starting to fall a little bit behind now though. Alright, and another Scion from hand for our opponent. So we can just release the last 2 auras from our hand. Or we hit a land drop, which is kind of nice. Planes. We can't force lethal, can we? We'll have 9 power attacking in. That's not going to be lethal. I think we just go slightly slower. Get a light pause. Hyena Umbra here. So now we can look at getting Griff Spoon, I reckon. We got ethereal armor, our light pause is removed. We're not really in a great spot. I think we get Griff Spoon for the guaranteed flying. Could get Audacity for the card draw. Let's just go with Griffsbone. I haven't quite given myself enough power to attack in here, really. Alright, well, we're going to attack in anyway and trade off this Hyena Umbra for another Scion. I should have counted that up, actually, and played out Audacity, left light pause in hand. Alright, well, that's fine. Still in a manageable spot here. Alright, our opponents finally made their 3rd land drop, Wooded Foothills entering the party. And Sentinel's Eyes off the top, which is a nice one. So we'll go ahead and throw that one down over here. Get a trigger on our light pause. Alright, so in response to this light pause ability, they're casting Dead on our light pause. Alright, well, we'll still use its ability. Last time I did this, Audacity ended up in hand when I clicked on it. Yeah, there's some sort of weird... I don't know if that's a bug or not. If it's a bug, it's maybe a little bit in bad taste going for it, but here we are. We'll just double Audacity on our creature and attack for the victory. Alright, so this is a Domain Zoo deck with Leyline Binding. There are a few flex slots in the deck here. Some copies play Teferis, some play Dromoka's Command. This one's playing some pretty spicy Azure Eternal Schema, able to animate its Leyline Binding and attack with some massive creatures that way. Alright, so from the sideboard we have enchantment interactions such as Cindervines. We also have a sweeper effect in Hijetsugu, consumes all. Maybe Teferi bounce effect as well. And occasionally more copies of explosives, Dromoka's Command, and Wear Towel. A reminder as well, guys, if you do enjoy the video or find it educational, please consider subscribing. Alright, so I'm going to look to bring in Solitude here. It's really, really good in this matchup. Also a Gadok Teague. I'm going to just bring in Gadok Teague as a one-of, I reckon. Stop them from casting Leyline and Binding. Of course, it can still die to Lightning Bolt, Burst Lightning. I think that was like a Boom Bust or something we just saw, or Dead. Yeah, Dead something that we just saw in that last match. Taking out one light pause to Audacity. Alright, so our opponent mulligans to 6. We'll keep this hand. It's a little bit aura anemic. The Dried Arbor is also a little bit awkward, but we have a couple of good auras. We have some really strong creatures as well. Alright, so opponent with just Wooded Foothills in tapped, and we find a Beseiju off the top. That's likely best left to answer a Leyline Binding later on. So we'll Temple Garden here, fly out our Poster Boy, and pass the turn. Okay, end of turn. This time they go for Indartha Triome, Breeding Pool into play. Alright, and at the moment, our opponent is holding up both Beseiju, Leyline Binding, so nothing like too threatening or menacing. We find like another dead draw, which is a little bit unfortunate. Alright, so I think the best play is probably the Rancor. If they play something like Dromoka's Command, we'll get the best value out of this one. Another consideration was to play the Sentinel's Eyes, actually, just based on the construction of our mana here. Lol. Quisali Ambusher. Because we can't play both Light Paws plus like a Rancor next turn sort of thing. I mean, I guess we get Rancor back in this spot. Leyline Binding, well... If a creature is attacking you and you control a forest and a plains, you may cast it without paying its mana cost, and as though it had flash. Alright, so this has got to be Ragavan tech here, combining nicely with Leyline Binding to sort of mess us over a little bit. And Rancor is like exiled in this spot, so it's I didn't expect this ambush here. He certainly got us. Attacking on in, no blocks from us. Alright, so we do see Temple Garden, and that's about the last white source that we're going to want to see this match here. Played our Temple Garden. If they had more than one of these in hand, they would have played them all in the same go there. I think maybe we just play Double Scout, attack with the Dryad Arbor. It's kind of bad into Hijitsugu though. This is like so bad into Leyline Binding or Burn Spell of some description. Force them to have it anyway. I think it's the correct line. Alright, looks like this is all resolving now. So we probably want Totem Armor in case it's like for Tribal Flames protection. Even though it's worse if they have Leyline Binding, I think we want this Light Paws to stick. Alright, so opponent plays Wooded Foothills and looks to pass the turn to us, and we've hit another dead draw. How unfortunate that is. Alright, we'll play this one out and we'll look to attack with our Light Paws now. Sure, we're attacking into an ambush, but we can Leyline Bind and get Rancor back and have some sort of playability from that point forward. Opponent searched up a mountain. Violent Outburst. Okay. What on earth is he? Crushing Footfalls. So it's now a Crushing Footfalls deck. I was not expecting this from game one. I have not seen... I've not seen a domain deck that also runs Cascade Rhino tech. That's something else. Alright, so our opponent double blocks with the Rhinos. We'll just assign blocking order like this. I don't think we get anything back into... I think when we get the Rancor back, we don't get any Light Paws effects because we're not casting it technically. It's just entering the battlefield. I'll try anyway. Got nothing to lose. Alright, so we're correct in the fact that we don't get any extra effects out here. The Rhino Umbra is going to trigger and keep our creature alive. We can't really trample too much damage here. It's just 4 and 2 damage marked. Never mind. Force of Vigor. I guess we should have held off on that one, so at least we traded with one Rhino. Oh, we are getting slapped here, boy. Oh my goodness. Alright, second main. Play out our Scout. Play out our Rancor. I guess we leave Sentinel's Eyes in the graveyard. We are very far behind on the board state now. I'm pretty sure we're just dead. The exile with that one, Shardless Agent. Alright. And our opponent is attacking for 10 damage. 2 cards in hand currently. We haven't got any good blocks, so we'll take the 10 damage, try to draw Daybreak Coronet specifically. And another Shardless Agent now. Alright, so we see another force. We see a Force of Negation as well. Alright, so this is just like out and out Rhinos with Scion, Dracon, Tech, whatever it's called. Scion of Draco. And we break. Alright, we'll concede that one. Alright, so here we can see a Team of Rhinos list. This one with like Brazen Borrower, Seasoned Pyromancer. Our opponent has Shardless Agent. We didn't see much of Fury. Obviously there's Violent Outburst as well. Direction of a Force of Vigor, which is good information to have. Potentially Blood Moon, that would be absolutely gross. This particular list doesn't have Leyline Binding. Alright, so here's one with Leyline Binding. Also has Archon Proxy. We see the Dead Gorn as well, so this is probably more what our opponent is on. The only thing this doesn't have is the Scion tech, but close enough. Nothing too untoward in the sideboard, just Force of Vigor really. Alright, so I think we bring back in our Light Paws and our Chalice of the we'll bring in our Chalice of the Void as well here. We'll actually take out Solitude and Gadok Teague. Just given what they're on, I think that can all come out pretty nicely. I think Solitude loses value over what Chalice of the Void does. Probably just... Our evasion is probably good. Maybe we just take out a Sentinel's Eyes. Alright, we'll submit and get into it. Good old no land hand here, so we'll mulligan this one. This hand looks really strong, we'll keep. Bottom of the forest here, so we have double white for Daybreak Coronet. So we bogle and pass. Our opponent plays out Misty Rainforest, and I'm assuming they're just fetching in one in tapped here, so that works for us. Find another Scout. That's a pretty rubbish draw, really. We don't have to play around Hijitsugu though, so maybe we can play out Scout, Sentinel's Eyes, attack, and then save like Light Paws, Ethereal Armor for afterwards. I think that's a line. Our opponent is like tapped out here, so I'm fine doing this all in the first main. Alright, and they make their second land drop, cracking this Flooded Strands, Temple Garden on the board. And we see another Scion from our opponent. Alright. 4/4 Flyer, and Ethereal Armor off the top for us. Could go one Ethereal Armor, attack if we have Force of Vigor, we don't get completely blown out. Only partial. We get like Sentinel's Eyes back from the graveyard with Bogle plus Ethereal Armor. So we'll attack like this. Test and see what our opponent has. Damage goes through, okay. We'll keep this other one in hand with the Light Paws, so if we draw a line next turn we can get a bit of value, maybe some trample. And our opponent's holding up 3 mana here. We find a Daybreak Coronet. I think the play now is Daybreak Coronet. Plays around like Violent Outburst into double Rhino pretty well. It's pretty poor into Force of Vigor, but I think they would have eaten up our creature last turn if that's something they had in hand. Alright, and just attack with the Bogle. If they do cascade into Rhinos, we don't want this Glade Cover Scout just blocked for free. And even like the Scion can just block it for free as well. Alright, there it is, a Violent Outburst. See Teferi, Violent Outburst, Force, Beseiju, Ambusher, Scion, Shardless Agent. Yep. Alright, so, well, there's the Rhinos. We expected that lot. See our opponent blocks here. I guess they just jump with 1 because we currently don't have trample or flying, so they probably block with one of the Rhino tokens, leave the flying on the board. Alright, well that's not the worst place to be. Uh-oh, opponent plays Steam Vents and shocks it in. What are we casting now? Shardless Agent, more Rhinos? Well, they're doing this sorcery speed, which is nice for us. Alright, just more of the same revealed. So we can see that there's now 2 Leyline of Bindings on the bottom of our opponent's library. Our opponent can't really attack into us because we just have a block through Leyline of Binding. We actually find the Horizon Canopy here, which is really nice for us. So we'll Light Paws. I think we enchant this second Glade Cover Scout now. Then look to start attacking pretty aggressively. We get flying off of Light Paws as well. Maybe it's just trample actually. I think we get trample. So the second scout doesn't attack hugely profitably. The Leyline Binding here strips away ethereal armor. We're left with a 5-power creature, so we take a triple block to kill it. At which point, this ethereal armor would shrink this creature to a 4/4. So 1, 2, 3. I think we can attack with both. Alright, we'll attack in. We're pretty screwed if they have Force of Vigor, though. I'm assuming they don't have Force of Vigor. Alright, Leyline of Binding. This does force them to play it on the Daybreak Coronet, actually. Very interesting. Alright. Alright, so opponent triple blocking the Bogle. Alright, so this Bogle is going to fall. This one's going to kill the Shardless Agent, though. And we'll get a Sentinel's Eyes trigger next turn off our Light Pulse, should it survive. Only one Leyline of Binding that they are drawing to or have in hand, because 2 of them have been shuffled to the bottom or randomly placed on the bottom post-Cascade. Looks like our opponent has another Shardless Agent here. And just more of the same stuff shown off that Shardless Agent, like a Scion, a Force of Negation, and a Violent Outburst. That's 40 cards there, so their Leyline of Bindings are near the top at this point. Alright, attacking in with 2 of the Rhinos, and that is fine by me. We will take that. Any aura off top would be magnificent. Alright, we do find a Rancor. Beautiful stuff. Rancor, Sentinel's Eyes. 2 auras will enter on our Light Pause, making that pretty big. We'd assume Light Pause gets just removed, though, with Leyline Binding. Alright, we'll start with Rancor here. Opponent's pausing a bit here, so I guess they do have the removal for Light Pause there, nerfing out the triggers that she's going to do. Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, because I'm pretty sure they either top decked that or already had it in hand. We'll get a Rancor back to hand, though. Okay, we get to reset the Rancor. That's not nothing. Get our Vigilance back as well. Opponent's really choking our escape cards here with these Leylines exiling instead. Alright, so that takes our creature up to 10 power. We can attack. Our opponent has to block with at least 1 creature. If he blocks with more than 1, we can kill 3 creatures if he blocks with the whole board. Alright, so this is a very, very fine attack. Alright, and there it is. Our opponent is double blocking, I suppose. The Force of Vigors, we still kill with Sentinel's Eyes, Rancor, and Scout's Power. We still kill the Rhino, so we'll go like this. We're like dead at Force of Vigor anyway at this point. But our opponent gave us like a Shardless Agent for free. I don't think the extra 2 life is super relevant to them. Opponent currently attacking with 16 power, potentially. No. Leaving back on the blocks. Okay. You're sweating a weakness now, opponent. So if we attack as is, our creature will die on crackback. Alright, so we'll cycle this, look for a 1-mana aura, buff up our guy. Oh wow, so we draw with the Horizon Canopy. Our opponent ice to tap down. Alright, so we have 15 white auras to 8 green auras. And we've removed 1 of each, so it's 14 and 7. So the correct play is to put this on white. And Hyena Umbra off the top, absolutely clutch. Let's go, team. This is going to add an extra 2 power. We've also got the Totem Armor, so we can safely attack here. Let's get in. And our opponent is forced to block with at least 3 creatures here. Yep, assign damage. Oh, that's awesome. That is so awesome. All right, we've wiped out those Rhinos. Let's go, team. Wow, opponent concedes. That was a very close and very terrifying match. We ended up taking it in the end. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed that one that went down to the wire there. If you did, be sure to leave a comment down below. Until next time, have a wonderful day. I'll see you then.